Hey, happy Wednesday, namaste. Welcome to the Business of Adventure Facebook group. It's February. Oh my God. Month number 2, 2022 already. Deep winter here in Canada. Very sub-zero temps. Snow still coming. Having a good winter so far. Yeah. This month, we're going to be talking about how to sort of stuff. So my goal with these sessions coming over the next 4 weeks is really just to walk through some of the, I guess, pain points that have come up for clients that we work with over the last year. So just going to share my screen with you so you can see all the sessions coming up. So this is just the Facebook group page, okay? And these are going to be the sessions that we're covering this month. So today we're going to talk about how to set up new software. All right, we have a freebie checklist for that, and I'm just going to take you through that checklist and what that would look like in software such as Yuli and Keep. Then we're going to talk next week on how to simplify some of the lead capture processes. Okay. And that's going to be me walking you through how we can use Keep to generate leads into our business. Okay. And then week 3, how to recruit and retain adventure guides. So this is something we've actually spent a fair bit of time on in 2021, was helping businesses get ready to hire their teams for the very first time. And now what does it look like to retain those guides? We're kind of going through all that process right now. So I'm just going to share some of our tips and learnings from that experience. And then week 4 is going to be partnering with other adventure businesses. So we've talked before, obviously, about affiliates and media exposure, things like that. So we're going to have a bigger conversation, more focused on partnering. And what that could kind of look like and how you could use that to your advantage in 2022. All right. So for today, we're going to be talking about setting up new software, because if you're not already dealing with this, then you will probably be soon, as more and more stuff is needing to come online, and you're probably kind of in that place where you're always thinking, how can I make this work better? Okay. And there are, we say there's many ways to, slice the pie, cut the deck, kill the cat, skin the cat, whatever that is, right? Like there's always multiple ways to do things. So just bear in mind, right? This is sort of our method, and it is our method because we have seen this work time and time again. I can see a few of you have joined us, so make sure you drop me a hello in the comments. I want to know what you are looking to get out of today's session. What can I give for you to help you make moving to a new piece of software super smooth and feel simple and exciting? Okay. Instead of the opposite, which is often the case when clients come to us, they're like, I'm just looking at the system and I can't figure out what I need to do next. And I just feel overwhelmed by the whole thing. And so that's where this checklist came from. Okay, are you ready to look at the checklist? Here it is. Boom, software setup checklist. These are our 12 steps that we go through every time we put together a new piece of software for a client or for ourselves. And this checklist will take different amounts of time depending on the piece of software you're having to set up, but it's meant to be a guideline to ensure that all the pieces get put in place, you don't miss anything along the way, and you can get up and running really smoothly without having to worry and feel overwhelmed. Okay, you just come to this checklist and you do the things on here in the software. So that's what I want to walk you through today. So starting from our checklist, okay, the first step is always to update your company information. So you're going to do that usually under your account settings. So let's jump over into Yuli and have a look at what that looks like here. So when you first log into Yuli, you're going to always land on the dashboard, all right? And all you need to do is click over on your menu icon and go account. So this is always the best and easiest place to start no matter what software you're setting up, okay? Get all your account stuff configured first, just do it once and move on, all right? So just basically fill out all the information that's on the contact profile, okay? Including your social pieces here, right? Click through all of the settings while you're in here, okay? So if you want to have, like, this is Yuli's little shop site, add your Google Analytics ID, put in your business name, give your logo and your branding all an update there, okay? And then this is the, preview site that comes with Yuli. If you don't have a website and you want to just have something, really nice and simple to get off the ground with, this is a great way to go. So fill out all that information and remember to always hit save. Okay. We're going to kind of circle back to payments, but if you're already here and you're setting up all your settings, be sure to get your payment processor connected so you can start taking bookings ASAP. Okay. And fill out any other information that is needed on that page. Okay. Over in Keep, when you first log in, when you start your app, and a lot of the, I'm going to say bigger software companies will have some guided onboarding steps for you to take. Okay. Use them. Just follow the instructions that they give you. So you can see here in my demo app, I've created some tags already. I've updated my profile information, but I'm still missing a few other things. And these ones give you a little timeline. Oh, that's only going to take me 2 minutes to do that. Let me make sure that I jump over there and get that all set up. Okay. So these are just ways that some software will help you. But in the meantime, we're going to navigate to our account and our settings. Okay. And we're going to make sure that our profile is all up to date. So here is all of our information. My email signature is updated. Okay. And my login information is all here as well. Go under my account. This is just your subscription and monitoring that. The business profile. Okay, so this is where we put in all the information about who we are and what we do. And ooh, look at that. What time zone are we in? Time zones are an important part of software. And we can always upload a logo. Then we save that. Time zones are important for trips that are taking place. So like in the Yuli app, that's a helpful thing is to set the trip's time zone. And then also if you're doing any appointment scheduling, it's really important that that matches what your calendar is so that people can book time to talk to you, right? And these are sort of the basic things that you're going to get started with based on this checklist. Okay, so we've done the first thing. All right, update the system's preferences. So this we kind of just talked about already, which is like the branding. This can be system preferences around notifications. Okay, how do you want to get emails from the system for every single action that gets taken inside the new system? Or do you just want to get notified about payments and new contacts, right? So make sure that notifications are a part of that. Since we're here, oh, look at that, notifications already listed, great. Then we want to, at this stage, you can add your team members either here earlier on or at the end of this process. It's whatever you feel most comfortable with. So to add team members in Yuli, this is again under our account settings, and you can click on team members, and then you go add team member. Okay, I'm going to click it. It's going to ask me to upgrade, but if you're paying for additional team members, obviously you come in there to use them. And there are always 2 ways to add team members to your software, right? If you need separate user accounts, often you're going to pay for that, okay? Not a whole lot, but usually, $10 to $40 a month-ish, depending on the software. All right. You saw Yuli's is about 45, and I think Keeps is about 30 to have users in there. And the workaround to that is to use a tool like LastPass, like we've done over here, where you basically share the one account login to multiple people. Okay. Pro tip, that is sometimes a way to, save a little bit of money month to month. But it comes with its pros and cons. Okay. Pro, you save some money. Cons, whoever you're sharing your admin access with has full admin access. So that means they get to see all the payment information, they get to see all of the account information and just everything within the system. Okay. So if you prefer to have, some separation, is, if you're sharing with a business partner, Will and I share our login stuff all the time. We actually use a lot of the same accounts, just skinned as Katie or as Will. But if you are hiring, subcontractors or employees, and there needs to be some level of permissions so they can't do certain things inside the software, you are going to have to pay to have a separate user account to gain those permissions. Okay. And that is something here. So user permissions, okay. And some softwares allow you to create a template. So this is like giving people permissions to, WordPress and other things you can kind of set up. What does an editor get to do on the site, right? So in Yuli, there's not quite as much team member permissions, but there are some basic, things, and what they can do will be set up here. Same with here in Keep. Okay. If we go to add a user, right? These are the different roles that people get within the app. Okay. And so it gives you an idea of what they can kind of do, right? So managers can do everything except manage users and the merchant account information. Okay. Staff is the most limited access. It only lets them see their own contacts, tasks, and deals. All right. So that is, a permission structure that can be really helpful within the business, depending on your model and who you need to bring on to the team. Of course, you have to import your data to the new system. So depending on which system you're doing, importing your data might be sort of a duplicate in regards to importing your products and services. So with Yuli, import your data and import your products and services are basically the same thing, because here you're not necessarily going to be perhaps importing a whole lot of contacts, especially if you're just starting right off the bat and you're going to be putting people in here for the first time. But if you've already sold trips to people, then you will be importing them and adding them after. So to create your products, you just click create trip and you follow the Yuli steps. They actually have a really great onboarding video and Yuli process sort of set up now. So I'll make sure to link that in the video below so you guys can check that out. It's going to walk you through getting all this stuff set up, and you should be able to have a trip up and running in just a couple of hours. It doesn't have to be a big, arduous piece. So yeah, each trip, right? You just configure. Again, you come in and you do the basic same things over again. Go through the whole overview, do the pricing and update the settings, okay? Go through and create your highlights and your itinerary. And once everything is all ready, then you can add your people. And you can do a bulk import with Yuli. So you just need first name, last name, and email address. And then you can import people directly into their trip, okay? Regards to importing in Keep, there's a few ways you can kind of go about doing that. You can manually import. You can start totally fresh and add contacts, using a lead capture form. You can also configure Keep to pull all your contacts directly over from things like MailChimp. So if you're feeling totally stuck on like, I don't know how to import contacts, all you got to do is connect it to your MailChimp account, click the run import button, and it's going to pull everything over for you. Okay. So being overwhelmed about contact importing is a thing of the past when you move to a system like Keep. All right. Connecting your preferred payment method. We already touched on that just quickly. So that was under the account settings, connecting Stripe. Okay. And this is also a back end setting here in Keep as well. Okay. This is payment processing and currency. Okay. So you can connect all these different currencies that you are going to be billing in for your business here. So for example, we do most of our billing in Canadian. I have a Stripe account, so I would be connecting this Stripe setting, but there's also always multiple options, okay? I think Yuli actually just released an Authorize.net integration, which is super exciting. So for some of you that are using like the Moneris type of processors, I think that's now an option for you to get that up and running. So all of these softwares have similar gateways. So if you go with something like PayPal, Stripe, Authorize.net, you're basically set up to work with every piece of online software, especially if you go Stripe. They're really integratable, but they're not refunding the processing fees when you refund a client, okay? Which in travel, and that's the reason that came, is because of the pandemic, and Stripe was having to pay back a lot of fees out for processing the refunds. So they've changed their policy to stop losing their shirt, basically. So just keep that in mind when you are looking for some of these payment processors, because if PayPal is going to refund you some of those fees, if you process a refund, it might be worth that 4% rate, okay? Versus Stripe's lower rate, but you're not going to get any money back, okay? So you got to weigh the pros and cons of each of those pieces. Okay, make sure everyone has login access. So whether you've created a user account for your team members or shared it on LastPass or 1Password, make sure that everyone can get in. And if you are creating new user accounts, be sure to task these users to set up their account, okay, with maybe a profile picture, their email signature, create any appointment scheduling links that they might need, and just configure their own settings around notifications and things like that, okay? We have two pieces in here around templates, okay? And I've specifically created these ones as task templates and email communication templates, okay? So what are task templates? In Yuli, task templates are not totally a thing because you can't create a template of individual tasks, but you can create a template of like an entire trip, okay? So it's important that the first trip that you create has all the tasks mapped out to the best of your ability, okay? So custom forms are created, right? Waiver links are attached. Just everything is configured to your most ideal scenario, and it's going to evolve over time, but all you have to do, okay, is to create task templates in Yuli is go to this settings and you go create a template, okay? And I just say, NL K-Box hiking trip. Okay, you could call it 4-day hiking trip. You could call it whatever makes sense, okay, for you. And then you'll see inside this template, all the tasks are here. Okay. So as long as you keep the template tasks up to date, when you go to create your next trip, what you're going to do is go to templates, and then you're going to go create trip from this template, because the tasks are the most up to date, the most current. And then you're going to use this as the foundation to create your new trip. All right. As you develop more and more itineraries, you might have, an itinerary for an Africa trip, and a template for our Brazil trip, and maybe even a template for Newfoundland trips. And ideally, they all get created from this original source of truth, which is the first one that has the best tasks in it. And then over time, unfortunately, you will have to go through each template if you decide to change a task, and you'll have to manually do that in each and every task inside each and every trip. Okay. And so that's one of the little caveats around Yuli. They do help you automate info collection through this task process, but keeping the tasks up to date and tweaking tasks across multiple trips is now where you're going to be spending your time instead. Okay, just as a heads up. In regards to tasks, we can do some level of task creation and automation in Keep as well. So this can be in regards to sales calls. This can be in regards to following up with clients after their trip, to review some of their stuff. So if in Yuli, for example, you're using the tasks to communicate with your travelers, we don't want to duplicate that over in the CRM system, but maybe we do want to ensure that things just don't fall through the cracks. So when somebody submits a form inside Yuli, we could use Zapier to push that through to Keep to say, hey, there's a task here now for you on this contact to review their Yuli form submission. Okay. And it can just be a way to bring you back into the other piece of software to look at the information you need to look at. Alternately, you can keep the two systems, separate, and you can just keep tasks in Keep in regards to sort of post-trip follow-up tasks, because in Yuli, once the trip has gone by, it moves into past trips, and sometimes you kind of forget about the trips that are over, but we do need a mechanism to be able to follow up with people. How did your trip go? Please fill out this survey. And that's a really good time, is after a trip has happened, to kind of have that system come back over to your CRM to then trigger that process of post-trip follow-up, and keep that in your CRM, because that is where your VIP clients are going to live. That's where you're going to nurture them to ideally join you for another adventure one day, and collect their feedback, and ask for reviews, and ask for referrals, and keep them engaged through your email marketing. Okay. And so that's how those two pieces really fit together. Okay. So Yuli and Keep make up this like circle. Okay. So Keep is on the side and Yuli is on this side, and people kind of can come in to Keep, and they can be nurtured, okay, using a lead magnet. They can be sent the email broadcast, because that's just very good practice that you're emailing these contacts on a regular basis. Okay. And in your email marketing Keep, you're encouraging them to book something over in Yuli. Okay. And then they book in Yuli, and they go through that whole trip preparation process, and then till they go on their trip, and then they come back around the circle into Keep in that post-trip process cycle I was just talking about. And they kind of go back into that like nurturing in regards to like, what is your next adventure going to be, right? And if you're surveying your audience regularly enough, you will be able to use tags inside Keep to be able to understand who's interested in what things. So then you can send them more focused emails around, oh, you'd really like this, Jordan trip. Check it out. Check out our itinerary over in Yuli, and you send them back into Yuli again. Okay. And ideally they book, they go through this process, they go on their trip, they come back into Keep. How was your trip? Blah, 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 blah. And we send them around. It's called the marketing cycle. Okay. And ideally you're only funneling in, just a nice steady flow of new leads on a regular basis. It doesn't have to be high volume. It just has to be quality leads that come in and get nurtured into your Yuli trips and then back around through your CRM system and through Yuli and back around. Okay. So that's how those two systems ideally work together. Right. Integrations is another thing we have to talk about as we are configuring new software. So there's not a whole lot that Yuli really truly integrates with. I do believe that some of their integrations in regards to like bookkeeping are quite good. So they do integrate with Xero, and I think QuickBooks is also in the works. So getting some of that stuff configured is really helpful. Just going to see if I can find out where that happens. Because they don't have there's not like a dedicated integrations thing. I think that might be one of those things that you like submit a help ticket for, and then they kind of do it for you on the back end. There's quite a few little functions inside Yuli that you have to reach out to the team in order to turn on. So these integrations might be one of those pieces. Over in Keep, in our settings area here, there's a whole zone here for integrations. And this is a list basically of everything that is like a direct connection at the top. This is exactly like these are native built-in integrations with Keep, okay? So we can sync Gmail and Google Calendar as well as Outlook and Microsoft email. QuickBooks, PayPal, and Zoom are like all direct, okay? These Constant Contact and MailChimp are just to help you import your contacts. So that was what I talked about earlier. And HelloSign is a two-way integration. So HelloSign works well for a company like mine, where I'm getting my service agreement signed. If you're more of a travel agent, travel designer, and you're doing a lot of custom work, HelloSign can work really well for you as well for getting like a travel agent or designer agreement signed, signing terms and conditions, or any paperwork like that you do. HelloSign isn't my preference when it comes to waivers. I do prefer WaiverSign or SmartWaiver, probably SmartWaiver over WaiverSign. It's just easier to use and looks nicer. So there are always multiple options for everything, right? So if you want a full two-way integration for document signing, and you are using Keep or are coming over to using Keep, then we can look at that HelloSign integration. But we can also, work with Zapier, right? So all these ones that say Explore are in regards to powered by Zapier, okay? So basically anything that comes in via Zapier can also come into Keep. So if we were able to connect, SmartWaiver via Zapier, we could say this person has signed this waiver. Let's update their contact profile in Keep, okay? And Yuli also integrates using Zapier. So we can also build some really fun stuff around that as well. If clients have, for example, signed a waiver, then we could make a note in Yuli that the waiver has been signed. So when the travel person goes in to say view responses in Yuli, then they would see that the system has already sent back a note that says this has been signed, okay? So there's some pretty good stuff we can do in regards to integrating a few of the systems, even if they don't natively talk together. So that's some stuff that we're kind of playing with on the back end for us. So connect all your integrations, get everything synced up and working. That's going to ideally save you quite a bit of time. This integration with Gmail is a two-way sync, okay? So it will be an entire record of all the history of communications for every user on the contacts profile, okay? So if I'm emailing a client from my Gmail account, it will copy that over to Keep. And then if Charlotte goes to email a client from her account, it will also sync back to the client's record in Keep. So there's one source of truth, Keep, right? So you go to the contacts profile, you can see all the emails that have ever been sent to that client and understand what the conversation has been the whole time, okay? We talked about importing your products and services. So we looked at that over in Yuli, which is importing your trips and itineraries. So a little bit more setup over here. But if we go back here to Keep, if you are selling other things, so this could be merchandise, this could be custom things that you're doing. Let's add a product. Okay, it's a pretty straightforward, basic product adder thing. And like if you have a Shopify store, for example, we can also connect Shopify via Zapier to Keep to say this person bought this t-shirt. Okay, so Keep is a great place to become the hub of your wheel if you have Shopify and Yuli and Resd and other places around MailChimp. No. There's data about clients in 3 or 4 different systems. You're ready now for a CRM system, okay? Because we want to push all that data to one place so you can have one source of truth as to who is your most valuable clients, okay? We call them VIP clients, right? And it's because they are valuable to the business. And that's because over time, right? They have spent money on tours, on lessons, on merch, on multiple trips over time, right? You want to keep track of that and understand who your people are, okay? So one centralized source of truth is a game changer. Edit your communication templates, okay? So communication templates in Yuli are per trip, okay? Because again, Yuli is not global. It is per trip. Everything is per trip, okay? So you just go under settings here, and then you go down and we're just loading in. Please bear with my 2012 MacBook Pro. And okay, so these are some of the, templated things. Okay, so when they register, and then these are the communications. So default email messages is what they're called in this system. Templates in other systems. Okay, but basically you want to be able to send these custom messages out to people every single time. And yeah, that's just really nice to make those a little bit more, custom to your business, let's say. Okay. And under our Keep thing, once we've added a contact, always helpful pro tip, add yourself as a client to the system so you can test stuff, okay? We're gonna go view the contact record. And in here, when we click on send an email message, all right, email templates are here, and we click on manage templates. So we can create as many templates in the system as we want, so that every single time you go to have a communication with a client, you can at least start with a template so you don't have to rewrite the same emails over and over and over again. And if you've been in business for 2 minutes, you know that you send a lot of the same emails, especially when you're running travel, especially when you're working with groups, right? They all have the same questions. They all need the same amount of follow-up in regards to, I need your waiver and I need your terms and conditions signed and I need you to send me your passport information. Like it's just constant, basically nannying of travelers to get all that stuff collected. That's why we like those tasks over in Yuli. But if you're not using a system like Yuli, then we want to ensure that your other option is to have these email templates all created over inside Keep. So you can just go, okay, I need this person's waiver template, insert waiver template, send, okay? And the reason I say send, I didn't say edit, is because we like to use merge fields to also save you time. So you have to type out people's names over and over and over again, okay? Merge fields, game changer. So that is a little bit about templates. Then you have to test the system, make sure that it works. So that basically means that you take this trip, okay, and you take the raw link, not preview as registered, okay? You take the raw link and you open it in a new window and you make a booking like a client would. This is just my computer being slow. I'm very sorry. We're streaming live. It's having a hard time with this, okay? So I say, okay, I'm going to express interest, right? I type in my name. Okay, and if this was activated and all set up for payment, I would be logged in, but I redid that again as the same email in person, so that's why I got kicked out. So try to only do that once or twice. This is where it's helpful to have a few emails. So if I was going to do this again, I would go will@peakflowobm or hello@peakflowobm. I have like 3 or 4 email addresses, but they all come to the same inbox. Very helpful for testing as well. Okay. Make sure the payment goes through. Okay. You can set yourself up a $5 payment for testing if you want instead of the full amount, but it's helpful definitely to run some money to make sure it goes all the way through the system. Okay. And then also run the system backwards because you're going to get cancellations and you're going to need to refund somebody at some time. So make sure you're comfortable running the system backwards. So refund yourself that money. That way it's to your credit card and to your Stripe account. So if anything didn't work, then at least it's easy for you to fix that problem, okay? Because it's both your accounts. And then make sure you go through all the steps, right? Complete all the tasks, read all the emails when they come into your inbox, make sure stuff looks really nice and good from the client end, okay? When we do testing over in Keap, we are, sending ourselves, emails, right, to make sure that they come through well. When we build automations over here, we create forms and then follow-up sequences, tasks get created, emails get sent, tags get applied, and we go and we fill out those forms on the front end, just like a client would. And then we make sure all the things happen in the back end, right? So when you're testing, you have to remember that you have to check everything from the front, the way a client would see it. And then you have to check it in on the back end to be like, okay, I took this action, right? I made a payment or I filled out a form. Now I go into the back end. Do I see that payment? Can I see where that form information went, right? That's also a really core piece about you learning how to use your new software. Okay. So don't be afraid to test. And if you ever need a dummy test person, you can use my email address. Okay. And I will forward you things or reply and say, oh, I noticed a typo, or, hey, this email looks really great. I'm interested. Right. You can always just drop stuff to Katie@peakflowobm.com. I give you full permission to put me in as a test person in any new software that you're setting up. That is how much I want you to do that. And I want you to have help, okay, to do that. Get your team to do it as well, right? Hire. Another great thing to do that's actually the clients find really fun is get some of your most regular travelers, okay? People who've been on 3, 4, 5 trips with you. Tell them what you're doing. Say, hey, I'm trying out this new system and I'm pretty nervous about it. And it would mean the world to me as a trusted client if you would help me test this system. I'm going to give you this special link. Can you go here and can you make a booking? Okay. Because we did this with one of my clients and her clients, and we got a lot of really good feedback out of that process, right? Because what you're doing is you're putting a new system in front of your ideal traveler to see if they can navigate their way through it. Okay. So once you have things tested from your side, you've done as much as you can or want to, then I would definitely invite a regular traveler to participate. And you could, if you have a private Facebook group, this is a great thing to say, and just say, hey guys, we're testing our new system. Here's a test trip we've set up for you. Would you please go here and make a, $0 booking? Or tell them it's going to cost them $5, but you're going to refund it to test the refund system too, right? And have them go through that and give you feedback on the whole experience, because that is invaluable feedback on how to make your process even better for the people you're doing it for. And it brings the travelers into the loop, right? I think there's a lot of hesitation or reservation about bringing travelers, too much into our business. And in some cases, sure, I think it comes down to, ultimately your relationship with these travelers, right? But I've seen it in the past how much they value being included in just anything kind of new that's going on in the business. And that can be setting up new software. All right. I remember doing that a little bit, right? With when I was with Wild Women, when we first set up Keep and Infusionsoft, we brought in probably 10 women who were some of our regular travelers, and we put them through the system. And they were so tickled to be invited to this, very exclusive thing, right? And be able to give us their feedback and to, share what they thought of the whole thing. They just, like I said, they were just absolutely tickled. So don't be too shy or too worried about it either. The system can be imperfect, and you can invite your travelers to give you feedback and say, hey, I'm trying this new thing because I really want to make the experience better for you. I've done my very best at this point, but I'd love your feedback. Could you please make a demo booking for me, right? They will be tickled often, and if they have time, right, be fully willing to participate. Another thing, in regards to just getting your travelers involved is not only testing new software, but asking them to review things too, right? Like if you have again a traveler who's been on multiple trips with you, send them the sample itinerary before you publish it on the website, and just say, hey, you've been on so many trips with me. I really value your input. I know that you know this community really well. Would you take a read of this itinerary for me, right? They'd be absolutely tickled and honored to have a sneak peek at what's coming down the pipeline. Okay. Awesome. Then the last piece is just to review the day-to-day tasks with your team, AKA SOPs that might have to be created to ensure that the new system is used well by everybody involved. Okay. So examples of that could be like, making sure that every day somebody is checking Yuli for any new responses. Okay. And when this has come in, you can click the responses here and you will see, stuff has been done, forms have been submitted, whatever. And this is where you'll see all of those answers to forms, document uploads come in here, all that stuff. Somebody needs to look at that stuff. Okay. You also need to see if payments are coming in on time. So you could do that here per trip, or the way I like to do it is to come over here and go to reports. Okay, and keep a look on what's come in the last week, for example. So I like to check the reports pretty regularly. This is just my computer being painful. So this is a great way to look for stuff. And then a little trick that Jen shared with me was to search here. This is the big master search. Don't put anything in and just click search. And this will pull up basically all system activity. Okay. So we can see that today, this traveler, right, got sent this message, right? You're invited to do this thing, right? All the stuff that happened in the back of the system, okay? So that you can see who's submitting stuff, who's paid stuff, who's registered but not paid yet, okay? These are important people to keep track of inside your Yuli system, okay? And then, from the Keep side, this is really, training your team to, always have a look at their home screen, watch this one for any tasks that are coming in, and keep a lookout here in regards to their calendar and kind of what needs to be done on a daily basis. Okay. We can also just go to the tasks tab. So if you have a few different salespeople and they're now working with multiple clients, this is a really important place for them to be checking every single day to make sure that they are on top of the tasks that they need to be doing in order to keep your clients super happy in regards to their booking with you. So guys, that is 45 solid minutes of how to set up new software in your business. If you haven't had a chance to grab a copy yet of this freebie, it is over here on Peakflow OBM/online office hacks, how to set up new software checklist. And it's just over halfway down. There's this little green box and you just click there, sign up, and you get your free checklist to help you move through this process, okay? And get yourself all set up on your new piece of software. A few other pro tips on there as well, okay? Guys, if there's any questions that's come up out of this session today, please drop it in the comments below. Happy to answer anything that you're wondering about. And if you want to chat about Yuli and maybe getting some help to set that up, or you just want to know more about it and why it might be good for your business, please grab a discovery call with me. Same goes for Keep. If that has got your ears perked up and like, ooh, sounds like that does lots of good stuff that I need in my business, also please grab a discovery call. I am happy to chat with you about those two options. They are not good for everybody, but they are good for a lot of people, especially in travel and tourism, because I have seen it work and I know they work and we have set them up a lot. So I also trust them. So I am biased in regards to Yuli and Keep because I just think they're super awesome, but I'm happy to help you navigate that and to help you determine if it is the right fit or not. And I will be very honest about it both ways, because yeah, like I said, it's not necessarily for everyone, but they do both do a lot of very powerful things. So some very solid solutions there. So guys, until next week when we come back to talk together about simplifying your lead capture and sales process using Keep, I will say bye for now. Have a good night, everyone.